Hello everyone, my name is Rajni Jha. Welcome to PIB Weekly Analysis at Drishti IAS. In today's session, we are going to discuss some of the most important pieces of news from 17th August to 23rd August from PIB. Let's get started. The first piece of news that we have is from agriculture, which is regenerative agriculture. When we talk about agriculture or farming, there are mainly three types normally. First is normal farming. In normal farming, what we do is, in normal farming, it's like I take nutrient from the soil to grow the crops. That's it. I don't care about the soil. I do not care about regenerating it. So in normal farming, I take nutrient from the soil and grow the crop. Then comes sustainable farming. In sustainable farming, what I do, I take nutrient from the soil, but try not to damage it. I try to preserve what I already have. So I try to preserve the soil. I try not to damage it, but I try to preserve it, right? And the third is regenerative that they are talking about. Regenerative, as the name suggests, it regenerates. What does it regenerate? It means I farm in a way that makes the soil and ecosystem around it healthier than before. So in normal, I simply grow the crop, right? I use soil to take nutrients to grow crop. In sustainable farming, what I do, I try to preserve the soil also. I grow crops, but I try to preserve soil. In regenerative farming, on the other hand, I try to regenerate, which means I try to make the soil and ecosystem healthier than before. So that is regenerative farming. And that's what is talked about in this article of PIB. So let's see what it says. What is the meaning of it? Farming approach that restores soil health, biodiversity and ecosystem resilience while ensuring long-term productivity. Why do I want to regenerate the soil and ecosystem? So that productivity remains for a long run, right? For a longer run. And what are the main practices to do this? How will I regenerate the soil or ecosystem? I have said that I want to regenerate soil or ecosystem. That's what is regenerative agriculture. But how would I do it? First is minimum soil disturbance. What is minimum soil disturbance? I will not plow the soil again and again. So you dig the soil, right? To grow crops, plow it. So I will not do that again and again. And what would that do? If I don't plow the soil again and again, then it prevents soil erosion. Otherwise, the upper layer becomes weaker and it erodes very easily. But here, it prevents soil erosion. Then is soil cover. What is soil cover? Basically, in soil cover or soil less soil disturbance, I leave it as it is. So I do not plow it again and again. I leave it as it is bare so that it regenerates, right? Next is natural farming. Of course, chemical inputs should be reduced. If I want to have healthy soil environment, healthy soil health and healthy ecosystem, I need to reduce the chemical inputs. Then there is crop rotation, cover crops and mulching. What are these? So crop rotation is, as the name suggests, we are rotating what kind of crops we are using. So in crop rotation, what we do is, we, instead of growing same crop every year, we try to rotate crops. So for example, first wheat is grown, then pulses will be grown, and after that oil seeds will be grown. So rather than growing wheat throughout the year, growing one crop throughout the year, we rotate crops. That means we grow different crops in different seasons. What does that do? Now different crops would require different nutrients from the soil and they also provide different nutrient to the soil. So this helps in regenerating the soil. So this will improve soil health because different crops use and add different nutrients in the soil, right? At the same time, we are talking about cover crops or mulching. Now what is mulching? Mulching means covering the crop. Covering the crop. What does that mean? So in mulching, what we do is we cover the covering the soil, sorry, not crop, cover the soil. So let's say here is our crop. So what I'll do is the soil around it, I will cover it. How will I cover it? I can use leaves for it. I can use dry leaves, straw, grass, compost or plastic sheet. So when I cover it with a layer of material to protect the soil, this is called mulching. And what does it do? It prevents soil erosion, right? It prevents soil erosion. It prevents or preserves soil. It helps soil from heat, right? So it will protect soil from erosion. It will protect soil from heat, and it will also help in moisture retaining. It will also help in moisture retaining, right? So because of all these reasons, mulching is used. We cover the soil around the plant or the crop, and that covering protects the soil from erosion, heat and moisture, all three of them. Then there is micro irrigation. What is micro irrigation? You must have heard about drip irrigation, drip and sprinkler. So you must have heard about drip and sprinkler irrigation, right? What do we do in that? So as the name suggests, drip or sprinkler irrigation provides water where the crop exactly is. So rather than throwing water in the field and overflowing the field with water, flooding the field with water, what we do is we use sprinklers. Now sprinklers sprinkle water like this, and wherever crops are there, the water reaches the crop. So this saves water. Then agroforestry, as the name suggests, if you break this word, there is agro and forestry. So in forest we find trees, and agro is like agriculture, so that is crop. So agroforestry, what we do is we use both trees and crops, we grow both of them. How do we do that? We grow crops in the field, and on the boundaries we grow trees. So what does that do? This also helps in carbon storage. What does it mean? We know that the trees, what they do is they absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. So they take away carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and store it inside for a very long time. That is called carbon storage, and we will also talk about this in carbon sequestration in the next slide or something, right? So agroforestry can be done. This will help in carbon storage as well. Then integrated farming system. Now what is integrated farming system? Where we integrate different practices together. What different practices? Like we are growing crops, but at the same time we are also using livestock, fisheries, poultry, etc. Right? Then scientific fertilizers are used and nutrient management is done. By all these practices, regenerative agriculture can be a success, right? So what are the benefits? Now we know for a fact that we try to preserve the soil health. So soil health will increase, biodiversity will also increase because we have crops and trees, both of them, right? At the same time, water efficiency will increase because we used drip or sprinkler method. Then carbon sequestration, as I told you, this is what is carbon sequestration? This means absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So plants, what they do, trees, they absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and keep it inside for a very long time. That is called carbon sequestration, right? Then input cost will also reduce because of all of this, as we are not using a lot of chemicals or any chemical fertilizers or chemicals for that matter. So input cost also reduces, right? Plus we are not wasting water, so there also water wastage is reduced. So there, that is also input. So input cost is reduced. Climate resilience is increased because I know because of all of these practices, the ecosystem there will be more resilient, right? It will be much better health wise. Then farmer income will also increase. How will farmer income increase? As I told you, we integrate the integrated farming practice here, as we have seen in this integrated farming system. So let's say, especially in the rain-fed areas where farmers are dependent on rainfall, right, for the crops, for the agriculture, in those cases, they can have livestock, fisheries, poultry, and this will provide an alternative or alternate source of income. Because in rain-fed systems, in rain-fed agriculture, we know for a fact that if you're dependent on rain for agriculture, it may or may not succeed. It might fail some years. So the other systems will provide income. Otherwise, if it is a success, then also this provides additional income. So farmers also get additional income because of this regenerative agriculture. So this is definitely helpful, and that is why it is given in the PIB. Now there are some government initiatives. Let's talk about them as well. Just for example, first is National Mission on Natural Farming 2024, in which 4,000 rupees per acre per year for 2 years were given, and 8.80 lakh hectare area and 18.19 lakh farmers were covered in this mission, right? Next is PKVY. PKVY is Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, which promotes organic farming. So this is for organic farming. Next, per drop more crop. Now you can easily guess from this. This says per drop more crop. Drop is drop of water. So that means I'm using drip method or sprinkler method, in which we provide water directly, drop wise directly in the crop, and that helps the crop to grow. At the same time also helps us save water. So per drop more crop is the one where we use drip or sprinkler irrigation, so that more area is covered, more crops can be grown, and water can be saved at the same time. Then rain-fed area development program is another. Another area, now this is important, this promotes integrated farming system, as I told you, especially in the rain-fed areas. Rain-fed areas means the areas where agriculture is dependent on the rain. In those areas, integrated farming system especially is a boon, because if, let's say, in any year, in any case, the crop fails, in that case, the other source of income will be there for the farmer, right? Then agroforestry component, we have already discussed. This is the component where tree and crops are grown together. And soil health card scheme, this is another scheme where soil testing will be done on 12 parameters, and here you'll be given, the farmers will be given sort of health card, like we used to have report cards in school where they'll tell us how we are performing. Just like that, this is health card for soil, right? And there will be 12 parameters in the health card. It tells farmers what nutrients their soil need and how much fertilizer should be used for better soil health. Next piece of news that we have is National Animal Disease Control Program. Now, this was launched in 2019 to control and eradicate 2 diseases. This is specially for 2 diseases, foot and mouth disease, and the other is brucellosis. So this is especially launched for these 2 diseases, and it is a government program. Why is it launched? It is launched to keep the livestock, the animals, the livestock healthy by preventing major animal diseases. How will they prevent? Through vaccination and through surveillance. They'll keep an eye on the animals, the livestock, and they will vaccinate also, so that these 2 diseases especially can be, right now, these 2 diseases can be stopped, can be prevented. Otherwise, if you are asked what is National Animal Disease Control Program, so this is the government program especially to keep India's livestock healthy by preventing major animal diseases through vaccination and surveillance, right? Now, vaccination was done in 147.16 crore FMD doses were given. FMD is foot and mouth disease. Now, this is not very important for us. What is important is when is the vaccination given. Now, if we talk about foot and mouth disease, I'll just explain it to you. If we talk about, I'll write it as FMD, right? If we talk about foot and mouth disease, this is a highly contagious viral disease. You should remember this. This is a highly contagious viral disease. That means it is easily contracted, highly contagious viral disease that affects animals, livestock such as cattle, buffaloes, sheep, goat, or pigs. And this can cause a lot of problems like lower milk production. In this case, there will be lower milk production, then poor growth, reproductive problems can be there, then working capacity of animals is reduced in this. But what you need to remember about this is a viral disease. FMD is a viral disease, okay? And when we talk about brucellosis, now brucellosis is not a viral disease. Brucellosis is a bacterial disease. This is a bacterial disease. So FMD was a viral disease, brucellosis is a bacterial disease, and this especially affects the reproduction in cattle and buffaloes. Reproduction. Now, that was affecting general milk production as well. This was affecting working capacity. FMD was affecting working capacity of the animals, reproductive problems. This was causing poor growth. But when we talk about brucellosis, this especially affects the reproductive health, and it is a bacterial disease, right? And for these 2, this is working. National Animal Disease Control Program is working. So when we talk about vaccination, there is regular vaccination for both of them. So animals are given FMD vaccination twice every year. For foot and mouth disease, the vaccination is given twice, 2 times every year, right? But when we talk about brucellosis, for brucellosis vaccination is given once to female bovine calves. That is the offsprings of female bovine. Bovine are basically just cattle, right? There can be cattle such as goat, sheep, then a buffalo, ox, any cattle. So female bovine calves are the offsprings. So when they are around 4 to 8 months, then once this vaccination for brucellosis is given. But when we talk about FMD, that is given 2 times every year, right? And what is the impact of all of this? The impact is this outbreak has fell from 132 in 2019 to now it is only 40. Earlier it was 132, now it is only 40, and brucellosis for that earlier it was 22, and now the outbreak is 15. So of course it is showing impact. And what else can be done? What else is done? Digital monitoring is done in these livestock registered on the Bharat Pashudhan portal will be with unique 12-digit IDs. Now the question is, what is that? What is Bharat Pashudhan portal? The problem with any news, PIB or any news, even editorials, is that they just give you words and they expect you to understand, which is not very possible if you don't have the background in that specific area, right? Okay, so here they are talking about Bharat Pashudhan portal. Let's see what is that. So you see, this is just 2 slides, but it was so loaded. There were so many things. There was so many content, so much content that somebody has to explain all of this. Otherwise, you'll keep searching for what it is and what other thing is, and it will waste a lot of time of yours. Okay, so what is Bharat Pashudhan portal? As the name suggests, first of all, this is a portal, right? What portal? This is a digital database. So portal, that means digital. It is a digital database. So who will be the content? What will be the content of this database? The livestock, of course, because it is about Pashudhan. Pashu means animals. So it is a digital database for India's livestock. And more than 39 crore animals have been registered here. And each animal, like we have Aadhaar card, each animal has a unique 12-digit ID so that they can easily identify and they do not recount something, any cattle. So there is 12-digit ID for every animal on this portal. And this helps government track which animal received vaccine, when it received vaccine, where it received vaccine, because they can easily identify which animal or which cattle they are talking about. So this makes it more traceable and data driven. At the same time, there is 4,019 mobile veterinary units which provide doorstep services. Now, what is that? Mobile means something that is moving, that can move is mobile, right? So what is mobile veterinary units? Mobile veterinary units are basically like mobile hospitals for animals. Mobile hospitals for animals. What does that mean? That means, let's say there is an animal that is sick. So instead of farmer taking their animal to a veterinary hospital, the veterinary team will travel to farmer's doorstep and treat the animal. That is what it means. So it's sort of like hospital is traveling to the farmer, because doctors are going to the farmer, veterinary doctors are going to the farmer, they're treating the farmer there itself. This is mobile veterinary unit, which provide doorstep services. Then there is One Health. What is One Health? In One Health, animal, human and environment health, all of them have been linked. Why they have been linked? We have talked about zoonotic disease earlier as well. Zoonotic diseases are the diseases which transmit from animals to humans. They are zoonotic disease. So we know for a fact that if animal health is not right, that can affect human health also, right? And overall it will affect environment. So that means all of them are linked. So they have come up with One Health. One Health links animal, human and environmental health, preventing zoonotic disease and future pandemics, right? Similarly, there is LHDCP and NADCP, which we are talking about, is just a part integrated under this broader LHDCP. What is LHDCP? Livestock Health and Disease Control Program. And this NADCP that we are talking about is integrated in this only. This is the umbrella scheme, and that is integrated right in this, right? Okay. Next we have Ken-Betwa link project. Again, a very important topic. Now look at this map. Now here, this is right here. This is Betwa river, right? And this is Ken river. So what is done is, in river linking project, as the name suggests, we are linking rivers, right? So what rivers are we linking? We have linked, and right here is the link canal. This is the link canal. So we have linked these two rivers, Betwa and Ken. Why we have linked this? Because we want to transfer water from Ken river to Betwa river. Why do we want to transfer water from Ken river to Betwa basin? Because there is water scarcity in this region where they are present, which is the Bundelkhand region. MP and UP, both areas come under the Bundelkhand region. So there is water scarcity, severe water scarcity in the Bundelkhand region, because of which we have linked these two water basins so that the water from Ken basin can be transferred to Betwa basin. Just imagine one river has enough water or more water and one river doesn't have water at all. So to balance that out, we have done this linking project, right? Next is, what is the significance? The significance is, this is the first priority project under National Perspective Plan for interlinking of rivers to enter implementation. What does that mean? That means this is the first priority project which has moved from planning to implementation. It has started being implemented. That is why it is important. Implementation has started, right? What are the main components of this? I have a picture for that. So Dodon Dam is there in this. Then Link Canal is there. Lower Ore project, which is a series of barrages and dams and canals on the Ore river, or to optimize water transfer, so that water transfer can be optimized. Then Kutha barrage and Bina complex. So these are the part of this Ken-Betwa link project. Now, of course, we cannot go into the details here, but you should read about these as well, right? Then what is the cost? Foundation stone laid in 2024, the cost was around 44,605 crore. Is it important for us? Of course, cost is not that important for us because we can't remember the cost of every project. And the target, this is important. Target is 2030. Target completion is 2030. What will be the benefit? There will be irrigation to 10.62 lakh hectare area. Drinking water will be given to 62 lakh people. 103 megawatt hydropower will be generated. 27 megawatt solar power will be generated. And main beneficiary district here would be the Bundelkhand region. As I told you, this is the region which has water scarcity. So this will be the region primarily which will get water mainly, right? And this is Bundelkhand region of MP and UP. Now, is there any problem with this project? Yes, there are some concerns with the project. The first concern is land acquisition and displacement. Whenever you are trying to develop anything or trying to make any infrastructure for that matter, this is the linking project. We saw that there are barrages which will be made, dams which will be there. So because of all of that, of course, people have to be displaced. People have to move out from that area. So displacement is that 22 villages are affected in MP. And because of all of that, displacement issues that people, of course, people will have a problem if you tell them to leave their home. Even if they are given compensation, which is, by the way, not enough. They don't want to leave the place because this is the place that they have grown up in. So, of course, they have some sort of emotional attachment to that place and they will not be very comfortable moving away from that place. So, that is one problem. Second is environmental problem, of course, forest diversion, biodiversity concerns, particularly, especially here, Panna Tiger Reserve is there. So, there is environmental concern. Any infrastructure, whenever it is developed, of course, it affects the environment around it, right? So, environmental concern is there. Then mitigation, compensatory afforestation. So, how are they trying to mitigate this environmental concern, environmental issue? By afforestation. Afforestation is growing trees, by wildlife conservation, by integrated landscape management plan for the greater Panna landscape. So, they are trying to mitigate it by taking some steps, but we are not very sure how effective it will be. At the same time, the problem is tribal rights. Tribal rights are protected under Forest Act 2006, of course. So, tribal rights are being violated if you are asking them to leave. That is another problem. Then Gram Sabha consent proceed involved. Okay, here important point is project will not eliminate drought completely. So, as I told you, in this region, Bundelkhand region, there is huge water scarcity, severe water scarcity, drought-like condition. Now, in this project, they are trying to mitigate that, but it will not completely remove the drought, right? But it will improve water security. It will make drought resilience better. Next is grasslands and open natural ecosystem. India has launched its first ever guide to grasslands and other open natural ecosystem at COP17 in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia on 17th August 2026. Now, before we understand this news, it's important for us to understand what exactly are grasslands. So, what are grasslands? We know about forest region. There are in forest regions, there are big trees, right? But in grasslands or open natural ecosystem, they are natural areas where there are no dense forest. They are natural areas where dense forests are not there in this open natural ecosystem or grasslands. They are usually grasslands. That means small grasses will be there. That's it. In the entire area, grasses will be there, no dense forests. At the same time, what else can be there? Scrublands, right? And deserts, savanna, all these you must have studied in geography. So, open natural ecosystems are the areas where there is no dense forest. Everything else is there, but dense forest is not there. So, there can be grasslands, there can be scrublands, deserts or savanna, right? It's written here as well. Okay, savannas. Then these are valuable ecosystem. Earlier, these were considered as wastelands, but these are not wastelands. These are Some people actually consider that these are not very helpful, these are wasteland, but these are not wasteland, these are valuable ecosystem and they need conservation alongside forest. Why are they important? If we talk about grasslands, grasslands are not providing us much, right? So why are they important? They are important because grasslands protect biodiversity. How do they protect biodiversity? Because in grasslands there are many birds, insects, reptiles, mammals, plants. So when you preserve grasslands, you also preserve those those animals or insects, right? So you preserve or you support the biodiversity. At the same time, grasslands are very important for livestock or pastoral communities, pastoral livelihoods. What does that mean? Many communities depend on grasslands for why? For grazing livestock. For grazing livestock, their cattle would graze on the grasses. So they are important, and those are pastoral communities, right? So these are important for pastoral communities because many communities depend on grasslands for grazing livestock. So grasslands provide fodder to their livestock and their livestock provide livelihood to the pastoral communities. So these are important for pastoral communities. At the same time, there is carbon storage and climate resilience also in these. So first, grass and other vegetation, they hold the soil together, right? Any vegetation for that matter, if there is if it is on soil, it will hold the soil together. So there will be less soil erosion. So this will also protect soil, right? It will protect soil, and at the same time, water regulation will be done. The healthy grasslands, they can help with groundwater recharge. If there is healthy grassland, they will absorb water and the groundwater will be recharged quickly. So they help with groundwater recharge. They reduce runoff. Otherwise, what happens is if there are grasses, if there is any vegetation, that soil starts absorbing more water. But if it is not there and soil is all barren, then in that case, what happens? The water runs off. Water falls on it, only a little bit is absorbed by the soil and the rest of it runs off. So when there is grassland, it also prevents that runoff so that the groundwater can be recharged, right? Carbon storage, grasslands store carbon not only above the ground but also in the soil and root. So there is climate, this carbon storage is also done by grasslands, it's not just done by big trees. So this also helps with climate change. Then climate resilience, why? Because healthy grasslands can withstand even extreme environments. If we talk about grasslands, they don't require much. Grasslands can exist anywhere. They can survive even extreme environments such as drought, heat or rainfall variability. So they also contribute with climate resilience. They, even if climate is not very stable, in that case also they survive, right? Then there are many examples given here. You can go through it from the PDF. For example, Himalayan and Terai region, rocky plateaus, ravines, then coastal and desert ecosystem. All these are the examples of open natural ecosystems. Then why is it important for us? Because it is linked to land degradation, then desertification, biodiversity conservation, climate change. We've already studied all of this. You understand why I explained all those points earlier so that you can understand this here, right? Okay, now there is one important point given here in this, that when we talk about grasslands, there is one important point which is fire ecology. Fire ecology. What is fire ecology? This is a very interesting concept. We usually think that fire is harmful, but in nature there is a mechanism in which the dry grasses or the dry leaves which are there, which are lying around there, they catch fire. It could be because of lightning, it could be because of extreme condition, harsh condition, heat condition, right? So they catch fire, and this is a natural process. So some grassland ecosystem naturally have fire regimes. Certain plants and ecological processes, they are adapted to this periodic fire. There will be fire, and then all of the ashes will go back to the ground in the soil. The nutrients will go back in the soil, and then the grasses grow again. So this is a natural or controlled fire, and that is healthy. This is called fire ecology. This is natural or controlled fire, and this is healthy. So you should know the difference between natural controlled fire and the uncontrolled fire, which happens because of human activities. That is harmful. Otherwise, nature has a process in which there are regular fires. There is a regular fire regime. So regular fire happens in regular interval. It happens, and it is healthy. It is helpful for these areas, these open natural areas. Okay. Next is National Space Day. It was celebrated on 23rd August. Now this is your homework. What is your homework? I'll tell you. Why is it celebrated on 23rd August? Because Chandrayaan 3 was soft landed on moon on 23rd August 2023. Now because it is because this is National Space Day is in commemoration of this activity, is this event where Chandrayaan 3 soft landed on the moon. So maybe this year or maybe next year question can be asked on Chandrayaan 3, because again it is in the news. So you have to study what is Chandrayaan 3. That is your homework. Now what is soft landing? I'll just tell you that soft landing means when the spacecraft, any spacecraft, lands on the moon without crashing at a controlled speed, so that the lander and its instrument, they remain functional. That is called soft landing. So there was soft landing by Chandrayaan 3, and that is why we are celebrating National Space Day on 23rd of August. So this is your homework. You have to study Chandrayaan 3. Next is H1N1 influenza. Health Minister reviewed India's preparedness for H1N1 seasonal influenza, especially in Delhi. So I'm sure you know, if any of you is in this area, you know that people are getting, a lot of people are having this seasonal flu, seasonal influenza. So first, let's understand what is H1N1. What is H1N1? H1N1 is a type of influenza A virus. Influenza A virus. It is a type of influenza A virus, also which causes influenza. So this is the virus that causes influenza or flu. This is only called flu. So what happens in this? This spreads mainly through respiratory droplets and particles. When people cough or sneeze, respiratory droplets and particles are then suspended in the air, and that contaminated droplet or particle, when somebody else inhales, they also get it. This is why this is highly contagious, and this spreads through respiratory droplets and particles when an infected person coughs, sneezes or talks. What are the symptoms? The normal flu symptoms. What are the normal flu symptoms? There is fever, there is cough. In this case, there will be sore throat, body ache, headache, fatigue. All those are the normal symptoms of influenza virus, right? Of flu, you can say. So usually people recover, but if somebody is in the older age or pregnant women is there, or there is some underlying conditions, health conditions are there, or young children, young kids are there, so they in that case there can be complication. Otherwise people generally recover from it. So what is happening in India? This health minister reviewed India's preparedness for this influenza, because it happens, it is a seasonal influenza, it will happen, a lot of people will be affected. So they are checking, are we prepared for it? And for that, there is surveillance, there is testing, there is lab, there is hospital preparedness that they are focusing on. Then there is ILI. ILI is influenza-like illness, and SARI is severe acute respiratory infection. So they are keeping an eye on both of them. Influenza-like symptoms, influenza-like illness, and also respiratory. The other one, SARI, that is severe acute respiratory infection. They are keeping an eye on these trends as well. Then states have asked to accommodate, ensure adequate beds, oxygen, ventilators, medicines, surge capacity. Like I said, people generally recover if they are given proper care, proper treatment. So we are just making sure that we have the proper treatment. We are ready for this, right? That's what is given here. That's it. The important part is you should know what is H1N1, the virus name you should know. You should know the symptoms. That's it. That is more than enough for you to remember. So next is Pitch Black and Udar Shakti 2026. What is Pitch Black? What is Pitch Black? So Pitch Black is a biennial. Biennial means it happens once in 2 years. So it is a biennial multinational air combat exercise hosted by Royal Australian Air Force, RAAF, Royal Australian Air Force. That is why Australia is written here. In this, India deployed Rafale jets, and it participated with 20 plus countries in complex large force employment mission. What is large force employment mission? Just imagine that many fighter aircrafts from different countries are coming together in a sort of hostile environment, but it is a simulated battle, right? So they are coming together, they are operating together in one large simulated battle. So it helps pilots learn how to operate in large, complex and high threat environments and high threat missions. So they are practicing how to fight, right, in such high threat environment. Next is Udar Shakti 2026. Udar Shakti is a bilateral. It is a Udar Shakti is a bilateral exercise between India and Malaysia. In this, many countries participated. This is a bilateral exercise between India and Malaysia. Right? That's all you need to remember from this, and that should be enough. Next is Chennai Declaration. So what is Chennai Declaration? 14th BRICS Science Ministerial Meet chaired by India unanimously adopted the Chennai Declaration Consensus on Science, Technology and Innovation. So what is Chennai Declaration? Chennai Declaration is an agreement adopted by BRICS. It is an agreement adopted by BRICS countries to strengthen cooperation in which field? In STI, that is Science, Technology and Innovation, that they will cooperate. So they have agreed. This is a unanimous decision to cooperate with each other. The BRICS countries will cooperate with each other in science, technology and innovation. Their focus is to make it people-centric. How? They believe that in this meet, especially, it was believed that the technology should not be used only for economic growth. Technology should also be used to develop people's life, to give people better life. And how can they give people better life? By giving them health, right? By giving them better health care, and what else? Better healthcare, sustainable development, climate solutions, jobs, innovations, right? By giving all these things, they can improve people's lives. Then this, as I told you, inclusive and sustainable development. What are the key areas here? AI, of course, AI will be included in any science innovation. It is that important. AI and high performance computing, quantum technology, biotechnology, health, climate, renewable energy and advanced material. These are the areas which are included in this, right? Now here, they have also said one very important thing. This promotes shared research infrastructure and research mobility and knowledge sharing through initiatives like BRICS Grain. Now, if you want to understand this point, you have to understand what is BRICS Grain, right? So what is BRICS Grain? BRICS Grain is BRICS Global Research Advanced Infrastructure Network. BRICS Global Research Advanced Infrastructure Network. Think of it like a shared research network. It is like a shared research network. For whom? For BRICS countries. So it is like a shared research network for BRICS countries, that is BRICS Grain. Okay. So instead of every country having to build independent access or expensive research facilities, so instead of every country making expensive research facility, there will be shared research facility, shared research center. Scientists can access major research facilities in other BRICS countries also, right? Countries will share research infrastructure. Scientists can work together on the research projects and researchers can move from between the countries and use the facilities. That's what is BRICS Grain, and that is why they have written shared research infrastructure, that instead of every country making their own expensive infrastructure, they can use each other's infrastructure in the BRICS countries itself. Researcher mobility, because the researcher can move from one country to another to use these infrastructures, and knowledge sharing, of course, because we are sharing the research networks. Of course, knowledge will also be shared, right? Then emphasis is on young scientists, innovators, startups, etc. Next, urbanization. It is related to urbanization. Delhi Master Plan 2047. It was high time that we actually needed a master plan for Delhi. You can see the living conditions in Delhi, they have become very poor now. So this Master Plan 2047 aims to make Delhi inclusive, sustainable and resilient and globally competitive by 2047. How will it do it? By first, housing has to be improved. So there will be around 40 lakh new affordable homes, including housing for JJ, that is Jhuggi Jhopdi dwellers, housing for them as well, migrants, workers, low income groups. So first of all, housing will be provided, right, to improve the conditions. So affordable homes will be provided to all of these so that this housing shortage can be reduced and people can live and move in dignified houses. Nobody deserves to live on the street, right? So they can move in dignified houses. Then they'll be focused on transit oriented development. What is transit oriented development? This means developing the city. This means developing the city. Where do you want to develop the city? Developing the city around public transport. Great initiative. Around public transport. Right? So it says transit. Transit means movement. Transit oriented development. That means wherever they are moving, the place that involves transportation, just around it there will be housing. So it will be developing the city around public transport, right? In simple terms, for example, there is metro station, there will be nearby housing, there will be offices, shops, services around metro station itself. What will it do? So instead of people living far away and traveling long distances by private vehicles, and all those important facilities will already be close to public transport. So that will of course reduce vehicle emission also, that will reduce people's time that is being wasted in traffic, that will reduce traffic congestion in the city, which is right now it's huge. By the way, it's a huge problem. So this will reduce traffic, travel time and pollution. So this is focus, there will be focus on transit oriented development. Then mobility, integrated transport through metro, RRTs, buses, walking, cycling supported by Unified Metropolitan Transport Authority. That means they will make mobility easier. Better integrated transport will be there, right? The idea is use different forms of transportation so that we can work together. If everybody is using car, there will be vehicular emission, of course. But if some people are using, let's say some people are using public transport, someone is using bicycle, someone is simply walking. So using different kinds of transportation method makes it better. So for home, maybe somebody can walk, use cycle, use metro, use buses. So all this comes under, this is the integration of different kinds of transportation. This is called Unified Metropolitan Transport. This is supported by Unified Metropolitan Transport Authority, right? And this is called better integrated transport. Next, environment. Of course, environment has to be focused on if you want to make a city better place to live in. So restoration of around 1700 hectare area of Yamuna flood plains, then 52-kilometer cycle track. So basically the environment which has been destroyed and degraded quite a lot, because of course, because there's so much population in Delhi and everybody is living here together and urbanization is not planned. The urban cities are not planned. There are a lot of problems in urban cities, as we have seen earlier. You will study in urbanization also. So environment is impacted because of all of this. So environment restoration will become a major part in this city restoration. Then economic growth, Narela as an education hub and Dwarka as an international investment hub. That's what they are aiming for. There will be promotion of industries, startups and data center. At the same time, there will be GIS based planning, digital approvals, simplified regulations. So there will be good governance, better governance here as well. Focus on better governance. What is GIS based governance? GIS is Geographic Information System. Geographic Information System. Geographic Information System. What is Geographic Information System? Simply put, it means that digital maps and data will be used to plan and manage city. So for example, authorities can use digital map for roads, buildings, right? They can use digital map for land use, infrastructure, green spaces. So this makes urban planning more scientific, transparent and efficient. Whenever you use digital platform for anything, it makes it more efficient and transparent. It makes the process more efficient and transparent. So that's what will happen here as well. And they will also focus on heritage and inclusion. So there will be conservation of around 1500 heritage assets, regularization of 1511 unauthorized colonies. Unauthorized colonies will also be regularized, right? Okay, before we move to the last part of our session, right now we have in Drishti, especially for female students, there is special scholarship on offline GS Foundation course. There will be 21% off flat scholarship on course fee. So if you wish to join us, please do join us. Call on this number 87501 87501. You can get more details by calling on this number. Right now there is flat 21% off scholarship. Do not miss this chance. And finally, we come to the last part of our session, which is practice questions. And the first practice question is the Bharat Pashudhan portal, recently associated with livestock disease control efforts, is primarily relevant to A. Digitization and identification of livestock, B. Monitoring agricultural exports, C. Providing crop insurance to farmers, D. Mapping groundwater resources. And you can easily answer it if you have even listened to me by even if you have listened to me by giving only 10% of your attention, then also you can answer this. This is so easy, right? Next question is, this is question number 2, with reference to regenerative agriculture. This was the first topic that we studied today. Consider the following statements. First, it seeks to restore and improve soil health and ecosystem resilience. Second, unlike sustainable agriculture, it focuses only on reducing agricultural inputs. Third, Agroforestry can contribute to regenerative agriculture through carbon sequestration and biodiversity enhancement. And fourth, integrated farming systems can be a component of regenerative agriculture. You have to tell me which of these statements is or are correct. Your options are A, 1 and 2, B, 1, 3 and 4, C, 2, 3 and 4, and D, 1, 2, 3 and 4. I thought this time I'll give you a little difficult question because you can't be answering only the easy ones, right? So that's it for today's session. I'll see you again very soon. Until next time, take care.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.